Anyway, there is a definition of hell that has nothing to do with fire, demons, or eternal punishment. It is much quieter and much more terrifying. The definition is this: on your last day on earth, the person you became meets the person you could have been. Imagine that moment. You are lying there, taking your final breaths, looking back at a life of safety, of comfort, of excuses. And then standing at the foot of your bed is another version of you. They look like you, but they are different. They are stronger. They are sharper. They carry the scars of battles you refused to fight. They hold the achievements you were too afraid to pursue. They possess the character you were too lazy to build. They are the physical manifestation of your potential. And as you fade away, you have to look them in the eye and realize that they exist only to show you what you wasted. That is hell. And right now, with every decision to skip the hard work, with every moment you choose the easy path, you are building that meeting. You are crafting that stranger who will haunt your deathbed. You are not the person you could be, and that should terrify you more than death itself. I have felt the weight of this ghost many times. I am not speaking to you from a pedestal of perfection. I am speaking to you as a man who has dug graves for his own potential. I know the seductive whisper of mediocrity. I know how easy it is to convince yourself that tomorrow is a valid strategy. I have spent years on the mats, and I have seen talented people vanish, not because they were injured, not because they lack skill, but because they lack the stomach to suffer for who they could become. I have looked in the mirror after months of drifting, of doing just enough to get by, and I have seen the eyes of a man who is fading. It is a specific type of nausea. It is not the sharp pain of a broken bone. It is the dull, rotting ache of knowing you are betraying your own existence. I have walked away from challenges because I was afraid of losing, only to realize later that by not fighting, I had already lost something far more valuable than a match. I lost the chance to see who I would be if I had stayed. The pain you feel right now, the frustration, the anxiety, the feeling that you are stuck, is not a symptom of depression. It is a symptom of betrayal. Your subconscious knows exactly who you could be. It has the blueprint. It knows that you are capable of discipline, of focus, of savagery, of kindness, of leadership. And every time you act beneath that standard, your subconscious punishes you. That is what that feeling is. It is the gap between your reality and your potential screaming at you. You try to numb it. You scroll. You drink. You distract yourself. You blame the economy. You blame your genetics. You blame your time. But the noise doesn't stop. It gets louder in the silence. You look at others who are succeeding, who are pushing, and you feel envy. But it's not really envy. It's recognition. You recognize in them the energy that is dormant in you. You see them doing what you know you should be doing, and it burns. It should burn. That burning is the only thing telling you that you are still alive. If it stops burning, you are already dead. Most people think potential is a gift. They are wrong. Potential is a burden. It is a heavy cross to carry. If you had no potential, you would be happy in the mud. You would be content with nothing. But you are not content, which means you have a debt to pay. The unpleasant truth is that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a victim of your choices. You are choosing to be less. Every single day you vote for the weaker version of yourself. You vote for the person who hits snooze. You vote for the person who skips the last rep. You vote for the person who stays quiet when they should speak. You are building a habit of self-betrayal, and the world does not care. The universe is indifferent to your wasted talent. The graveyard is full of people who had so much potential. It is the most common inscription on the tombstones of the mediocre. He could have been great, but he wasn't. He chose comfort. He chose safety. He chose to be a spectator in his own life. Do not mistake ambition for ability. Ambition is cheap. Everyone wants to be a black belt. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to be respected. But very few people are willing to kill the person they are today to give birth to the person they could become. In Jiu-Jitsu, there is a concept that perfectly illustrates this: the passivity penalty. If you are in a match and you stop engaging, if you stop trying to improve your position, the referee penalizes you. You cannot just sit there and wait for the time to run out. You have to work. You have to advance. If you stall, you lose. Life works exactly the same way, but the referee is invisible. When you stop moving, when you stop attacking your limitations, you are penalized. Your mind rots, your body weakens, your spirit decays. You cannot hold a position in life. You are either climbing or you are sliding. There is no plateau. The moment you think, I am good enough, you have started to die. The mat teaches you that potential means nothing without pressure. You can have the perfect body type for fighting, you can understand all the theory, but if you cannot apply it when a 200-pound man is trying to strangle you, your potential is useless. It is just a fantasy. The pressure is what converts potential into reality. You need the pressure, you need the difficulty. You should not be asking for an easier life. You should be terrified of one. An easy life is the soil where potential goes to die. This is not just about sports. This is about the book you haven't written, the business you haven't started, the conversation you haven't had, the father you haven't become. Every area of your life where you are settling is a crime scene. You are murdering your future self. Think about the people who depend on you, not just financially, but energetically. If you are operating at 40% of your capacity, you are robbing them. You are robbing your children of the example of a man who strives. You are robbing your community of your strength. You are robbing the world of your contribution. It is selfish to be small. It is selfish to hide behind false humility. It is not humility to deny your power. It is cowardice. You are afraid of the responsibility that comes with being great. If you acknowledge how powerful you could be, then you have no excuse for your current situation. So you pretend you are weak. You pretend you are confused. You pretend you don't know what to do. But you do know. You have always known. You have to make a decision today, not a promise. Promises are for children. A decision. You have to decide if you are going to meet that stranger on your deathbed with shame or with recognition. I want you to live in a way that when you die, the person you could have been has nothing to teach you. I want you to squeeze every ounce of talent, aggression, and love out of your soul before your body gives out. Do not leave anything for the return trip. Do not save yourself for later. There is no later. There is only the brutal now. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. You are carrying the tons right now, and you call it life. Drop it. Pick up the discipline. It is lighter. It is sharper. It is the only thing that cuts through the noise. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Stop protecting your feelings. Start protecting your potential, because in the end, you will not be judged by your intentions. You will be judged by what you actually did. The gap between who you are and who you could be is filled with the things you are afraid to do. Close the gap. Walk into the fire. Burn the excuses. The person you could be is waiting for you on the other side of the pain. Go meet him now while you are still alive, so you don't have to meet him as a stranger when you die.